So we are jumping straight in this week with some questions our sources posed that are, frankly, a bit absurd. Just listen to these.
Go for it.
Who won business in the 1990s? Who won marriage last year?
Right.
Who won education?
Yeah, if you really stop and think about those, they just sound ridiculous, don't they? I mean, you can't win marriage. We get that instinctively.
Of course.
There's no final score, no whistle blows and declares a champion of business.
Exactly. And that feeling, that absurdity, that's the entire point we're digging into today. It highlights this central problem, most of life, and especially the really high-stakes games like your career or your company.
Yep.
They're not things you can just conquer.
But we try.
But we try. We treat them like they have a finish line.
And that's the fundamental tension. We're all playing what the sources call an infinite game, a game designed for persistence, but we're using a finite mindset, a mindset that's all about victory and, closure.
And that mismatch, that's what we're going to show you, is so incredibly costly.
Professionally and personally, and it's
Yeah.
huge.
So the mission for this deep dive is pretty simple. We wanted to unpack the critical difference between these two types of games, the finite game and the infinite game.
A concept that's been around for a while, originally from James Carse, but really brought into the business world by people like Simon Sinek.
And we want to show you how adopting an infinite mindset is really the only key to long-term survival, success, and even fulfillment.
It's foundational stuff. I mean, once you see the world through this lens, you start seeing it everywhere. You realize most of our modern systems are just trying to put a finish line on something that's designed to never end.
Okay, so let's nail down the definitions first. Just to be clear, a finite game, this is what we're all used to.
It is football.
Right. It has known players, fixed rules that don't change, and one single agreed-upon objective to win.
A clear start, a clear end, and someone gets the trophy.
Then you have the infinite game. And this is different. It is known and unknown players. People can join at any time.
And the rules are totally fluid. They can change while you're playing. The whole point is not to win because you actually can't.
The sole objective is just to keep playing.
It's all about longevity. Think about evolution or civilization or, for our purposes, business and your career.
You know, it's fascinating why we prefer the finite game, though. It feels good. It gives us that dopamine hit of victory.
Oh, absolutely. Closure.
We love clear metrics, finish lines, declared champions. It feels great to say we won the quarter.
It's comfortable. The infinite game is deeply uncomfortable because it just demands you keep going without any promise of an end. But the truth is, your career, your health, your business, they're all infinite.
Right.
I mean, there's no moment you can stand up and say, I have officially won my career.
Right.
Unless you retire, which is really just dropping out of that particular game.
Okay, so let's unpack that. What really happens when you treat the infinite game a business, which is all about survival and evolution like. It's a short, fixed football match where only the current scoreboard matters.
Well, the moment you adopt that finite mindset, your entire field of vision just shrinks instantly.
How so?
You stop thinking about the long-term health of the organization, and you obsess over short-term competitive metrics.
Beating the competition this month?
Hitting evaluation this quarter. And it forces you into some really, really destructive behaviors.
Okay, so walk us through the specific consequences from the sources. This is where it gets tangible, where you can feel the cost.
Absolutely. The pattern is always about urgency overriding sustainability. So first, you get this obsession with short-term metrics, and that forces managers to make totally arbitrary demands.
They stop managing and just start demanding results.
Precisely, which leads to the second big consequence, employee burnout.
That quarterly target, that Q4 number, suddenly becomes this artificial finish line.
It's the end of the world. And you push your best people, your most valuable assets, past their breaking point because you're acting like this fiscal quarter is all that exists.
So you might win Q4, you get a great headline.
You might. But you've fundamentally damaged the energy and the trust of the team you need for Q1, Q2, and the next 10 years. You've sacrificed the machine itself for one temporary win.
And then there's the third one, which feels like the kiss of death for any long-term venture, cutting corners.
Correct. You start cutting quality in your product, in your service, in your support, anything to maximize the profit for this month.
You're trading your reputation, which takes years, decades to build.
For a tiny little margin bump that lasts, 60 days? It's madness.
So you might get that high five, you might get the bonus, but the victory is so fleeting and it can lead to well, catastrophe.
It does, because in an infinite game, winning a little battle means nothing if it compromises your ability to keep playing. The sources are so blunt about this. In an infinite game, the only true failure is dropping out.
And dropping out is more than just bankruptcy, right? Because I think most people hear that and just think, oh, they ran out of money.
It's much broader.
Yeah.
Bankruptcy is the legal definition, sure. But burnout is dropping out. You lose the talent you need to continue.
Yeah.
Losing your reputation because you sold a shoddy product or, compromised your ethics for a quick buck, that's also dropping out because the market just stops trusting you, and trust is the currency of the infinite game.
So all of these things compromise that one ultimate objective, the ability to continue.
Exactly.
This is where it gets really interesting for me. Looking at the contrast, the companies that played finitely to win the moment versus those that adopted this infinite mindset and played to survive forever.
And we see this finite trap everywhere in business history. You just think about Blockbuster or Kodak. I mean, Kodak invented the digital camera.
I know, it's incredible.
But what were they focused on? Protecting their existing guaranteed short-term revenue.
For Kodak, it was film sales, massively profitable. For Blockbuster, it was those insane late fees and their physical store model.
They saw innovation as a threat to their immediate scoreboard, not as a necessity for their future survival.
They refused to really embrace digital photography or video streaming because doing so would have immediately hurt their quarterly revenue from film or late fees.
They were so busy trying to win the moment that they completely destroyed their ability to even participate in the future. They dropped out.
Okay, now let's contrast that. Let's talk about the company the sources hold up as the ultimate infinite game player, Amazon. Jeff Bezos did something almost impossible. He stood up to the finite pressure of Wall Street for, 2 decades?
It's an incredible case study in just patience. For years, Bezos famously told his investors, "We are not going to make a profit." Not in the traditional sense.
Instead of maximizing that gap profit, the ultimate finite metric, he just reinvested every single spare dollar.
Everything. Into infrastructure, fulfillment centers, logistics networks, R&D, building the machine.
He was actively undermining his own short-term profitability to build something that was structurally bulletproof. He wasn't trying to win 1998.
Or 2008.
He was trying to be the last one standing in 2028.
And that patience, that willingness to look like a financial failure by traditional metrics for over a decade, that is the absolute hallmark of an infinite mindset. It dictates totally different behaviors around risk and investment.
If you're playing to win the quarter, you take these huge leveraged risks to maximize speed.
But if you're playing for longevity, you prioritize cash reserves. You prioritize defensive infrastructure.
Which brings us back to that one simple secret the source material just keeps going back to.
It's so simple, but it's profound. The player who can survive the longest wins. They don't have to be the biggest. They don't have to be the fastest. They just have to be the one still standing with the cash and the reputation when everyone else has burned out or compromised themselves out of the game.
And when you adopt that mindset, something else really critical changes, right? Your entire view of your competition.
Oh, completely. You stop seeing every other player as this existential enemy you have to crush.
The finite player isn't a zero-sum game. If the competition succeeds, that means I lose.
Right. So they see rivals as enemies to be destroyed, maybe sued or outmaneuvered with tricks.
But the infinite player, they adopt this totally different framework. They see them as worthy rivals. And I love that term. That shift in language is so powerful.
It changes everything. It changes your internal response to what the market is doing. So if a rival launches a product that is just objectively better than yours,
The finite player panics,
yeah,
gets defensive.
maybe starts lobbying against them, but the infinite player has a totally different reaction.
They essentially say, thank you for the data.
Exactly. They say, "Thank you. You just revealed a weakness in my game, in my product pipeline, in my operations, and now I can improve."
So your rivals stop being threats and start being free consultants.
Free consultants who are helping you stress test your business for the next 50 years.
It's no longer a fight, it's a calibration. And this isn't just for, huge corporations. It applies directly to us as individuals, especially with our personal goals or finances.
Yes. This is where it gets really practical for everyone listening. Just think about the difference between a finite financial goal and an infinite one. A classic finite goal is, I want to make $1 million.
Or, I want to retire by 40. It's a clear finish line.
It is. And the sources point out that when people hit that number, they often feel empty, a loss of purpose, or they just immediately need a new, bigger, more arbitrary number to chase.
Or, even worse, They take crazy risks to get to that finish line fast.
They try to win the game in 3 years instead of 30, and they blow the whole thing up.
Right.
Now, contrast that with an infinite goal for your wealth. I want to achieve financial independence to sustain my family for generations.
That's a goal that can never truly be won. It's a system you have to manage forever.
And that system demands totally different behavior. It demands stability over speed. It means taking fewer crazy leveraged risks.
You're building stronger foundations, not just trying to build the tallest tower this year.
Exactly. You're building for market storms, not just for sunny days.
You know, if we connect this to the last major recession, we saw this play out in real time, didn't we?
We did. It was the ultimate real-world lesson. The businesses, and frankly, the individual investors that got wiped out, they were often the ones leveraged to the hilt.
Playing finitely.
They were betting everything on perfect, uninterrupted growth. They were playing to win the short game, not playing to survive the long one.
And when the rules of the game suddenly changed, when the market turned,
They were gone, instantly dropped out. But the ones that survived, the ones that thrived after, they were the ones who had built for resilience. They moved more slowly, they held cash, they managed their debt.
their victory wasn't having the highest paper valuation in 2007.
No, their victory was simply being the ones still standing in 2010, ready to inherit the market when the storm passed.
That is such a powerful lesson. The ultimate shift, then, is just. It's realizing there is no finish line. Not in business, not in your marriage, not in learning.
The media loves to declare number one, but it's always temporary. It's almost meaningless.
There's only still in business.
And out of business. And realizing that is so liberating because it changes your whole definition of success. Success is just staying in the game on your own terms.
So let's summarize the key takeaways we pulled from all this for you. First, and this is the big one, change your definition of success. Stop trying to beat others, and instead, focus every single decision on ensuring you can continue to play the game.
Longevity becomes the prize.
Longevity is the victory. And second, shift your timeline completely. Stop stressing about this quarter or even this year. Plan for 10 years. Plan for 50.
And when you do that, when you adopt that incredibly long timeline, all the short-term bumps, a bad quarter, a competitor's new product, they stop feeling like emergencies.
They just become noise.
Just noise in the long, persistent game you plan to play forever.
That reduction in anxiety, I think, that comes from a long-term perspective.
Yeah.
That might be the single greatest benefit here. It builds resilience, not desperation.
It absolutely does. And this brings us to an important question for you to think about this week. Because the sources say the final step here is to move from talking about goals to talking about machines.
A machine you're building for infinite survival.
Sure.
One that needs constant tuning.
Precisely. So if your true objective is infinite survival to keep playing, what structural weakness in your current machine, personal or professional, are your worthy rivals exposing right now?
A weakness you might be ignoring because it's uncomfortable.
Or because fixing it might compromise a short-term goal. That weakness, that's the thing that will eventually cause you to drop out of the game. And that's where you should focus your attention this week.